Hello and welcome back to a new review for Overlord Season 2, Episode 3. And we continue this episode where we left off last week, and this was the arrival at the second tribe of the Lizard Man, where our now head over the heels for the albino lizard warrior, the traveler, has to face off against the tribe chief. And it's a fight, they fight, and we learn that the tribe chief is a monk class. So even the lizard man do have their classes, be it a warrior, be it a kind of like a druid, be a magic caster, stuff like this. And the tribe chief, he's a monk. He can enhance his body and even fight without a weapon. And our head over heels traveler, he is using his famous or maybe even infamous weapon, the Frostbane, which is a sword that has a chill effect, and every time it struck, the one who was striking against it gets a bit of frost damage. So the traveler, he was basically parrying all the blows, and then the tribe chief couldn't continue and he gave up. And then we got to the talk about the upcoming disaster, the fight for their lives against the underlings of the Supreme One. And obviously the tribe chief is like, well, obviously we will fight. And then they got back to the kind of the main village where it will begin. And then the battle began. So it was basically the first round of the fight against the underlings, and the lizard man won. People were injured, people were hurt, and Cocytus even had to summon an elder lich, just because he wasn't expecting the lizard man to overcome the greater number of enemies. And what I really like is that Cocytus is basically following the instructions but not really thinking about it. So he wasn't able to see that it wasn't the goal in the first place that he wins with these weak underlings provided to him by Ainz. And when he started to talk to the stylishly dressed Demiurger, or whatever his name is, damn, I can't pronounce this, but stylish glasses demon goon, he was saying the same. But was ever the order given to you to win with these underlings? Or wasn't it just something like a test conducted by Ainz, our supreme ruler? And Cocytus, not really knowing how to digest this information, he then summoned the Elder Lich, which was also defeated by the Lizard Man. And I don't really want to talk that much about the fight, because it was okay, but it wasn't that impressive or detailed to talk about it. Except maybe the part with the Elder Lich where they were going in against it, riding on Rororo. And then Rororo was taking the first attacks so that the others can get closer. And then basically fight in close combat. So yeah, that was the fight. It was okay, but the fight wasn't, or even how the fight was in itself, it wasn't really that important to the fight overall. So yeah. And this is what gives us a better view on Kokyuto's character, how he was created. Because he's a warrior. He's a prideful warrior. He has quite a lot of pride, and he really sees the lizard man as a proud race in itself. They are fighting, they're keeping up, they're really going against the enemy in this case for their lives to win. But they are doing it in a way that is impressing Kokyutos. Even though Kokyutos lost, he is still admiring the lizard man for their actions and how they are doing it, because he is a proud warrior. And then by the end of the episode, Kokyutos is summoned by Ainz. And this is basically where the episode ends. So all in all, the fight took quite a bit of time, the first one as well as the second one. And in between we had a little bit of kind of romantic comedy stuff ongoing between the albino and the traveler. And even others commenting on this one, just like the green village or the green lizard tribe, the brother of the traveler, was basically like, yeah, so much for your words that you can't get married, huh? And now you've got yourself a fine woman. So yeah, quite a few of chuckles, but all in all, I really liked this episode. And even though personally I'm not the biggest fan of the lizard arc, it still is a great first move to show how others are trying to deal with the effects of the Supreme One. And how they will see him, and how he kind of is right now like the boogeyman type of enemy or being. Because the underlings, they mentioned his name quite a few times for the Supreme One, and I'm serving the Supreme One, and so forth and so forth. But the lizard men, they don't know him. They have never seen him. They just know that there's this being, the Supreme One. Apparently is kind of messed up because he apparently enjoys to see people suffering. Even though this is more of an experiment. But I really like it how we see this tribes of lizard men trying to survive, and how they will trying to continue to go against Ainz. Or at least against the underlings, because they don't know the Supreme One. And I really like it how it is even in the next volume or the next parts where Ainz is really this boogeyman type of being. It's just so awesome. And even though he is kind of supposed to be the main character, this show works really well, even with him being just off screen or doing his things as an adventurer. So yeah, I just love it for this. And this is also how you know that Overlord is actually very well written, because the show can go on and continue move forward in a really good direction, even with a main character being off screen, and you don't see this often. And even if you would cut out the transported to this game world. As a fantasy story alone, Overlord would still be as good as it is. But this transported to game world thing, it really contributes to this dilemma Eins ist in, where as a human being, he's good and he knows that what he's doing is quite of messed up, but on the other side, he's the Supreme One. And all the servants of Nazarisk are following him. And they're seeing him as the Supreme One, as the strongest, mightiest, best ruler there is. So he really has to keep up this appearance, and yeah, this is just good writing and I really like it. So yeah, all in all, I think I will leave it at this. So as always, thanks for watching and I hope I will see you guys next time as well. See ya!